Hello ladies and gentlemen, this is Nevin from Nev's Tech Bits, and today I want to talk a little bit about computer hacking or computer cracking. Now, what a lot of young people don't quite understand is that back in the day there was a big difference between hacking and cracking. Back in the day, if you were a hacker, all that meant was that you demanded intimate knowledge to your computer system. That could mean hardware, that could be software, just as long as you had a thirst for information and a desire to know every little intimate detail of a computer system, again, software or hardware, you're a hacker. These days, hacker has taken over the definition of cracker. A computer cracker is someone who breaks into places to get information or just to see if he can do it. A cracker, again, breaks into places either for their own personal gain or just to see if they can do it. If they do it for their own personal gain, they're what we call a black hat hacker. If they do it just to see if they can, and they give the information, the security information to the people running the web page, running whatever they're cracking into, they're called a white hat hacker. Now, unfortunately, as time goes on, the definitions of words change. I have an aunt who likes to collect old dictionaries, and she'll always take me to the word marriage and show me through older books how marriage was more a man being dominant and a woman being secondary to what we have today. I don't think I have to explain that. And that's just the way things go, of course. The definition of the word has changed. Now, hacking has gotten to be such a big thing that I sincerely, and a lot of people sincerely believe, the next wars will not be fought with nukes. They will not be fought with rifles or tanks. They will be fought at a keyboard. The thing about computer technology, well, for the most part, it might have had its birthplace in North America, the United States. We have a lot of super talented people using this technology all over the world. Say, for example, over in China, we have a lot of people who might not exactly have a lot of money, but are unbelievably great at coding, unbelievably great at finding source material and finding ways in, finding ways around. Right now, the NSA is getting into people's systems using backdoors that it turned out not even the manufacturers of some of these firewalls, these devices knew about. The NSA found backdoors into systems and they just exploited them. They didn't tell the user. They didn't tell Cisco about these backdoors. What they did is they just used it for their own good. One could argue that that makes them black hat hackers. That puts them up there with unreasonable search and seizure, which is a very big deal in the Constitution. I think that's the First or the Fourth Amendment. I'm not sure. I'm not American. But anyways, knowledge is power. And the more power you have, especially online, the more you can do. And if you have connections, then I know people who are living off their nefarious acts. They're not friends of mine, but I know about them. Some people that I know who are actually making money off this kind of stuff are infecting people's computers. They're taking control of people's computers. And they are doing multiple things with other people's computers. One thing they're doing is they'll make YouTube accounts off of these systems, and they'll post spam. They'll spam out emails. If you get your name on one of those lists, all that it takes is someone to upload that information to one of the computers that they've taken over, and that computer will be sending out spam, 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 spam. It's unfortunate, but that's just the way it goes. Now, if you're a white hat hacker, what you'll do is you'll take the information you find. You use it to maybe make a little bit of money, but to make money for generally their own contracting for the corporation that they're working with. Of course, there's many different kinds of hacking. There's social engineering hacking. That's when you call somebody up and you get information about maybe the IP number that's on a printer, a modem, or something from within the company. In some cases, like in the movie Hackers, getting a security guard on the line that has no idea anything about computers and will go to one of those modems and get you the information. Sometimes you even have the passwords written right on it. And sometimes with social engineering, you get somebody waiting outside of a factory, somebody waiting outside of a building with a uniform that makes it look like a contractor. They'll wait till one of the smokers go out for a smoke, Or they'll go to the smoking section, have a cigarette with some of the guys, act like they meant to be there, talk a little bit about the factory, and they get let in with the employees. Right here we have an excellent example of social engineering. A man posing as a Walmart employee sends cashier away and then steals money from the register. It's a situation where a man walks in with a Walmart uniform that can probably be easily obtained at any used clothing store close by. And yeah, he walked up to a cashier at a Fairfax country store and stole money. After checking out a customer, he actually did the next customer. He closed up and he walked away with all the money. That's social engineering at its finest right there. This might not be about computer cracking, but is definitely about getting by security to get the money. So you gotta watch. You gotta be careful. There's definitely nothing wrong with being a hacker, but there can be stuff wrong with being a computer cracker. Another very simple kind of social engineering hack that has been going around quite a bit these days is faking information from somebody. As in, for example, Sarah Palin got her iPhone broken into, her email broken into. No, I think it was her Hotmail broken into. By the way, she got her information broken into, and the reason how it got broken into was because her security question was, where did I meet my husband? And that answer she put in her biography. So hackers took the biography information, applied it to the security question, and managed to log in. During the fappening, there was a bunch of photos, not good photos, released from a whole bunch of stars. And the reason why this was happening is, again, people were logging in with very easy information. Back in the day, before these jerks decided to take over using this, it was so easy to save all of your information on online backups on the cloud. For example, I went to Toronto one year. I got on the Wi-Fi at a building, and it was a coffee shop. The next year, I come over with a new iPod, and it automatically connects. Hey, no problem. That's great. That's great. My information actually saved to the cloud with the Wi-Fi password. And when I came back, it still worked. But these days, thanks to jerks like this, everyone has to be very unbelievably, ultimately secure. Anyways, what happened there was the stars had silly passwords, they had silly questions, and they managed to log in as a celebrity to their own cell phones and pull down backups of information from the clouds. Now, movie stars, they're not supposed to be intelligent with computers, and nobody thought anyone was going to do something like this. But because they weren't careful, hackers got their information, and they ended up pulling down their pictures, and they had some pictures saved to the cloud that they really shouldn't have, and these pictures got released. But again, these are hackers that, or crackers, these are crackers that got this information from information that was out there. A lot of these stars probably had their security information. It was, who was my first dog? And you look online and you find out they didn't ask me anything, and bam, my first pet was. And they'll have it right up there. So you gotta be really careful when you do this stuff. You definitely gotta be very careful. And because of that, it's gotten harder, and you're not going to be able to do things like that. But computer hacking doesn't always mean going in and breaking code, looking at source material and finding out what you can do there. Don't get me wrong, it definitely is that at the same time. But in order to do this stuff, you don't have to be very talented. You just have to know the way the system works and know ways of getting in and around systems. Now, before there were computer hackers, there were phone freaks. And what phone freaks would do is they would call in to a place that usually there wasn't even an operator, but there were call trees, and a robot will come on saying, if you need this, hit this. If you need this, hit this. If you need this, hit this. And with that, they could break into people's mail, they could make phone calls from other people's phones, and they could do a lot of things that they weren't supposed to be able to do. And a lot of this was just people messing around with technology and a telephone, and that's it. They could do all kinds of stuff just because they understood how the call tree went. If they press this number, they get here. They press that number, they get there. One of my favorite hackers, or one of my favorite storybook hackers, should I say, was Captain Crunch. He didn't turn out to be the most awesome guy ever, but anyways, Captain Crunch found out that with a whistle that you get in a box of Captain Crunch, you could get free phone calls because at the time, with the telephones, you put in a quarter, it would make a tone, and it would hear that tone, and that tone would mean that this much money has been put in. So maybe even these days with phones, put a quarter in, see if it goes beep, boop, beep, depending on what kind of coin you put in there. Anyways, Captain Crunch figured out that with this whistle, he could make free phone calls, and that was his big claim to fame. After that, they made things called blue boxes that that helped them break into systems. Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniak used blue boxes. If they were caught early on using these blue boxes, oh man, the whole face of technology would be different these days. But anyways, that's how she goes. A hacker is just someone who demands intimate knowledge of the computer system. And a cracker is someone who wants to break in for this, that, or the other reasons. And I'm giving you a basic on what social engineering is. So next you want to move on to technical, to the more technical engineering stuff about how you can see code, how you can break in with code. But I gotta tell you, for the most part, the biggest stuff that have hit consumers don't involve being a coder, don't involve being a script kiddie. You don't have to know coding at all. You just have to know the way things are, and if there's a security opening, and if there is, there you go. What are you going to do? Are you going to be a white hat, or are you going to be a black hat? It's the moment of truth. Anyways, that's an introduction to computer hacking. That's a definition, and I hope to have more soon. Catch you later.